Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, kicking off the new year as a firefighter turning passions into paychecks, and several OHS musicians selected for All-State Band Orchestra ensembles.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Oxford Township is now better prepared for the next power outage that comes its way. Last week, a 250 kilowatt natural gas generator was installed at the Township Hall. Purchased from Oxford-based J&T Electrical Supply, the generator cost over $100,000. Installation of the generator and switchboard was completed by Corby Energy Services Incorporated. The generator will help enhance the township's ability to safeguard the health, safety, and welfare of the public.
The Edison Township Fire Department is seeking dedicated paid on-call firefighters, emergency medical technicians. Fire Chief Jerry Moravsky said the agency needs more paid on-call personnel to better protect Addison Township's nearly 7,000 residents. According to Moravsky, the fire department's current shortage reflects a nationwide drop in the number of firefighters, volunteers, and is likely associated with a general decline of volunteerism in society.
There's an art to making people feel welcome, and Rick Allen has mastered it. For years now, shoppers of all ages of Oxford Meijer store have been the recipients of a warm smile and a friendly wave courtesy of 65-year-old Rick Allen. In the new year, Allen will no longer be a greeter at Meijer. He punched out for the last time at 3:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Allen said that it is, quote, the people that he will miss the most.
5 students from Oxford High School's band and orchestra departments were recently selected by the Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association. These 5 students will perform with the 2018 All-State Band and Orchestra ensembles on Saturday, January 27th in Grand Rapids. Students include senior oboist Hayden Frank, junior trombonist Tyler Dolinsky, I hope I didn't mess that up, senior guitarist Luke Stittard, senior string bassist Zachariah Smith, and junior violinist Nadia Smith. Earning an honorable mention was sophomore oboist Selena Langfeld. This year, more than 2,500 students from across the state competed for the honor to play in one of the 5 ensembles. This included middle school string orchestras and school bands, and also high school full orchestra, school bands, and jazz bands. Congratulations, that's a hard thing to do.
When it comes to shoes, everyone has that pair or two that never see the light of day, but what if there were a way to get rid of those unwanted shoes and fight global poverty at the same time? Since last summer, Oxford Virtual Academy first grader Max Vandeveer has been collecting pairs of shoes for Soles for Souls. So far, Max has accumulated more than 2,500 pairs, but it doesn't stop there. Max has set a bold and optimistic goal to help those who are less fortunate. He aims to collect 50,000 pairs of shoes over the course of this year.
Oxford High School's DECA students say starting a business is a risk worth taking. OHS senior Taryn Tucker and Luke Meyer, along with junior Kenna Wagner, have been teaching students and adults in Oxford about entrepreneurship. Easy for them to say. The DECA program is a global student organization that prepares students to be leaders and entrepreneurs in the field of marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. The group has been promoting entrepreneurship through a cross-generational campaign they developed called Passions to Paychecks. Congratulations.
And talking more about shoes, Leonard Elementary's PTO is looking to turn bags of unwanted and unused shoes into cash to benefit the school and its students. Now, through February 4th, the group is conducting a shoe drive in conjunction with Funds to Orgs. Funds to Orgs is a for-profit social enterprise company, and the company partners with nonprofit schools, churches, civic groups, businesses, and others to plan fundraising campaigns. The company also promotes economic opportunities for people in developing nations.
That's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, you can catch us on our website at OCCTV.org, on YouTube, and of course, your regular cable channel, Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon is our very own Cody Wright with the Sports Report, and you won't want to miss Science Talk, and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, we will all be exposed to flu this winter, but not all of us will get sick. The best way to minimize the risk is clear: vaccination, although it's a far from perfect solution. The way flu kills directly is mostly caused by viral pneumonia, a deep infection that damages the lungs' oxygen-absorbing membranes. Pneumonia can also happen indirectly if the flu virus wipes out the immune cells that normally keep bacteria in your lungs at bay, triggering a bacterial infection. Compromised immune systems, for example, in elderly people and pregnant women, allow the virus to replicate more freely and make flu more dangerous. Especially in elderly people, flu can also cause excessive levels of inflammation, normally a broad immune defense against germs. Each year, right after flu season, there is a second broadly equal wave of deaths from inflammation-triggered conditions such as heart attack and stroke. Chronic conditions that boost inflammation, such as obesity, can make flu more dangerous. The vaccine takes 2 weeks to kick in, so get it soon. Also consider the pneumococcal vaccine, which protects against post-flu bacterial pneumonia. Children shed more virus for longer and respond better to the vaccine, so vaccinating them helps protect older people and babies, creating a kind of herd immunity within the household. So, what should you do? Vaccination is the best way to reduce your likelihood of getting flu or getting it badly, but there are a few other do's and don'ts to limit your risk to yourself and those around you. First, wash your hands. Hands pick up virus when you touch contaminated surfaces, then infect you when you touch your mouth and nose, something we all do constantly, and try not doing that for a minute. Elbow bump instead of shaking hands, or cover coughs and sneezes with a sleeve, not the hand you are about to touch a doorknob or shake hands with. Don't go to work. Working sick is not a virtue if you are infectious, so work from home for the duration, usually about a week. And don't use most flu remedies. Painkillers and decongestants can make flu symptoms more bearable, but they can't shorten the misery. Eat sensibly, drink fluids, and sorry, no alcohol, but yes to chicken soup, and rest. There you go. And in space, a satellite designed to orbit the Earth at the lowest altitude ever has been successfully launched by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, or JAXA. The 882-pound satellite, known as Tsubame, will be used to take high-resolution images of Earth and measure oxygen levels. If successful, it may pave the way for more super low-orbit satellites that are easier and cheaper to launch. Tsubame initially began orbiting at an altitude of 298 miles, but will be gradually lowered over the next 2 years to test how far it can go. It is being driven by a highly fuel-efficient ion engine powered by electricity and xenon gas that JAXA hopes will help withstand atmospheric drag. The satellite was launched from Takeshima Space Center in Kagoshima Prefecture at 10:26 on the morning of December 23rd. The following day, it sent out signals confirming that everything was working properly. Most observation satellites orbit at around 373 to 497 miles above the Earth because they experience too much atmospheric drag at lower altitudes. Tsubame, on the other hand, has been designed to orbit at an extremely low altitude of 112 miles. The previous record holder was the European Space Agency's Gravity, Field, and Steady-State Ocean Circulation Explorer, or GOSI satellite, which orbited the Earth at an altitude of 139 miles from 2012 to 2013. It was able to map Earth's gravity with unprecedented precision and was even sensitive enough to detect sound waves from major earthquakes. Some going. On the medical front, a blood test that detects ovarian cancer in its early stages may reduce the deadliness of the disease. Ovarian cancer is known as the silent killer because most patients don't know they have it until it spreads to other organs and causes symptoms, at which point it is usually too late to treat. Now, Martin Witschwenter at University College in London and his colleagues have shown that the disease can be detected years earlier by looking for telltale DNA fragments that ovarian tumors leak into the bloodstream. By analyzing DNA fragments in 648 blood samples from healthy women and ovarian cancer patients, they were able to pinpoint 3 fragments that mark the presence of the disease. In a follow-up study of 250 women, they showed that they could identify those with ovarian cancer with 91% accuracy by measuring these 3 DNA fragments in their blood. Finally, they showed that the new blood test could detect ovarian cancer 1 to 2 years before it usually was diagnosed in 88% of cases. They did this by retrospectively analyzing blood samples collected from over 100,000 women in a previous study, 43 of whom were diagnosed with ovarian cancer over the next 2 years. The blood test has the potential to be used in population-wide screening for ovarian cancer, says Witschwenter. This may help prevent premature deaths since ovarian cancer has a 90% cure rate if it is found early and removed before it spreads. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
If your dream or vision is for a safe, secure, and better life for you and your family, this is your invitation to come see for yourself the wonderful experience that could be yours. It's true that many lakes, nature trails, fishing, and over 500 acres of parks attract lots of people. And many unique fine restaurants. Near the center of town is a white church with a steeple, and a park where a live band can be heard playing from the gazebo on hot summer nights. You are easily transported into a more relaxed and unhurried time. Although the village of Oxford reminds you of years past, the warmth and pride of its hard-working residents truly sets it apart from other communities. Oxford School Board has worked with parents to provide their children with the finest education possible. The result? A modern global school system with the first world-renowned international high school program, the 5th Core World Language and Culture program, and 11 premier sister schools expanding the globe from China to Mexico. Oxford residents are safe and secure in knowing they have one of the most modern police and EMT forces in Oakland County. If your vision is to start or expand a new business venture in a fiscally responsible environment, Oxford, Michigan welcomes you with open arms. We are one of the few Oakland County communities to offer the unique one-stop program, where Oxford officials make it easy for developers and builders to complete their projects from start to finish. The one-stop process cuts through financial and legal red tape, frustration that usually faces entrepreneurs as they try to get their project off the ground. If your dream is for a new business venture or a better life for you and your family, there is a place called Oxford, Michigan.
Hi, it's Connie from Connie's Kitchen. I just wanted to remind you to watch us on OCTV and Uverse and
Okay, cut.
this is Connie from Connie's Kitchen at Treetop Lodge, reminding you to watch my program on OCTV and on Charter and
Cut.
Hi, it's Connie from Connie's Kitchen here at Treetop Lodge, reminding you to watch us on OCTV and YouTube and Charter and
All right, cut. I think you forgot your lines, Connie.
I think I don't have
Should
lines.
have called lines.
Lines, there we go. Lines. Okay, 3, 2, 1
Here we
me.
go. 3, 2.
Join me here at Treetop Lodge. This is Connie from Connie's Kitchen, reminding you that you can watch us on OCTV and YouTube, Charter Channel 199, Uverse Channel 99. Can you imagine if we had to go through this every time? Yeah, right?
Oh.
Okay, see ya. This is Connie from Connie's Kitchen here at Treetop Lodge, and I want to remind you to join me here at the Lodge for Connie's Kitchen on OCTV, on YouTube, on Charter Channel 199, on Uverse Channel 99, and enjoy the show.
What's going on, Oxford fans? Cody Wright here once again with the Sports Report. Hope everyone had a good holiday and New Year's. It's just about time to head back to school, and that means the winter sports schedules are picking back up. This week, a few teams went back to work and kick-started the new year, so let's check in and see how it went. First off, basketball. The boys club went on the road and took on Groves High School on the 3rd. Looks like we couldn't get things running, did not get a win. However, JV did end in a tie, 37-37. Freshmen were 41-36, and then varsity 48-42. On the flip side, though, the girls were successful at home on Thursday the 4th, taking on Troy Athens. Both JV and varsity were winning very big. Our Oxford and Avondale United Hockey Club has been struggling to get the wins of lately, but we are a very small team in numbers, and we are in the midst of rebuilding with a young team and athletes from 2 separate schools. If you ask me, I think they're showing progress. The boys headed to Lakeland on the 3rd to take on West Bloomfield. The final score was 7-1, a loss. However, we look forward to getting out to the rest of these games and at the Detroit Skate Club and for the last half of the season. And lastly, the boys swim and dive team have an upcoming meet against Rochester High School here at home on the 11th. Then following that, we dive in against Stony Creek on the 18th. Both meets are scheduled at 6 p.m. And folks, that's just about it for this last week's report. Like I said, a lot of the athletes are still on the holiday break. However, next week we will have a lot to talk about and hopefully good things to say. For more info on these past upcoming events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. Plenty of stats, statistics, and breakdowns all there at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these games and more can be found on our YouTube page, which can be found through the website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. And that's all for this week's report. I want to thank you all for watching, and don't forget to tune in next time. I'm Cody Wright, and go Wildcats.
There's a lot of history to Oxford. Hidden around every corner, deep in every crack, and sometimes right in front of you, waiting to be discovered. If you just dig a little, you'll find the great history of our beautiful town. Welcome to historic Oxford.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, California would ban the sale of new cars and trucks powered by fossil fuels in 2040 under legislation introduced January 3rd in the state legislature. We're at an inflection point. We've got to address the harmful emissions that cause climate change, Democratic Assembly member Phil Ting, the bill's author, said in a statement. If the measure becomes law by January 1st, 2040, all new passenger vehicles sold in California would have to be so-called zero-emission vehicles such as battery electric or hydrogen fuel cell cars. More cars are sold each year in California than in any other state and more than in some countries. If adopted, the measure would eliminate a huge chunk of carbon emissions as part of the state's quest to slash greenhouse gas emissions by 80% from 1990 levels by 2050. Ting, who chairs the state's budget committee, said last month that he planned to introduce the bill, saying at the time, until you set a deadline, nothing gets done. The topic was discussed at the California Air Resources Board, the state's powerful air quality regulator, after Governor Jerry Brown showed interest in the topic, which had been raised by officials in other countries, including China. And in court, General Motors on December 28th won a court ruling that could reduce the private litigation it faces over flawed vehicle ignition switches, which have been linked to 124 deaths and triggered a massive recall. U.S. District Judge Jesse Furman in Manhattan said the plaintiffs in two bellwether cases involving accidents where airbags had deployed could not introduce expert testimony to show how defective ignition switches might have played a role in the crashes. The plaintiffs allege that their GM ignition switches might have rotated from run at the moment of impact to accessory or off, causing the accidents or making them worse, and then back to run before the airbags deployed. But Furman, who oversees multi-district litigation over the ignition switches, including 213 cases involving deployed airbags, called the testimony unreliable because there was no evidence that double switch rotation has occurred anywhere. But the judge said his role is to ensure the reliability and relevancy of expert testimony, and the opinions of the plaintiff's experts do not pass muster. Bob Hilliard and Tamar Lutzeg, two of the lawyers for the plaintiffs, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. GM spokesman David Caldwell said the decision reinforces our approach to contest cases that lack merit while being open to fair resolution of cases that have more merit according to the facts and the law. GM has already paid more than $2.6 billion in penalties and settlements, including $900 million to settle a U.S. Department of Justice criminal case over ignition switches that could cause engines to stall and prevent airbags from deploying. The company has recalled more than 2.6 million vehicles over the defect since February of 2014. As of November 30th, there were 1,723 unresolved personal injury and wrongful death claims in the multi-district litigation. GM previously settled claims related to more than 1,700 claimants. And on the recall front, federal safety regulators are investigating whether to reopen and expand a previous Ford recall by more than 1 million vehicles for unexpected downshifting. The initial 2016 recall affected more than 153,000 Ford F-150, Ford Expedition, Lincoln Navigator, and Ford Mustang vehicles from the 2011 to 2012 model years. A second recall would increase that number to over 1,375,000 vehicles affected and expand into the 2013 model year. Since the initial recall, NHTSA's Office of Defect Investigations received 123 complaints of select Ford vehicles with automatic transmissions slipping unexpectedly into first gear, causing the vehicle to slow down suddenly without warning, according to documents published on December 25th. The unexpected downshift can also lock up the rear tires and cause them to skid. The Defect Investigations Office said it has received reports of 2 crashes but no injuries. Several complaints allege their vehicles were not included in the initial recall despite having the same defect. Other reports to the office say that attempts to fix the problem in recalled vehicles have been unsuccessful. A spokesman from Ford said the automaker will cooperate with the agency in the investigation. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.